Good afternoon, Storage Syndicate. I am Brian Brogan. I am going to be leading this section of training today. So if you're out there, you have questions about the topic, feel free, pop them in the comments there. I'll answer questions as I go. I was asked to hop on here today and talk about what happens after you acquire the land, right? What do you do for the design? How do you get permits? How do you build a facility? All those fun things, right? As much as we talk about, and Alex is on here talking about what kind of land we're looking for, what kind of facilities we like to build, what the demographics have to look like, what the land has to look like. Like that's part one, right? That's phase one. Getting all those things lined up, getting all those documents in order, getting to the closing table, getting that project closed is the first of many steps. Now you have arguably a 3 to 4 year time frame ahead of you, right? I don't want to say battle because it's not battle, right? It's fun, especially if you do it right, if you have the right people surrounding you. But you close on some land. First project right there is design, right? So in theory, you're going to have a very rough design ahead of time, right? You're already talking to your design professionals. We like to use S3 Partners. That's who we use for all of our design and construction oversight. I believe Mark's a member of the group here. You could probably hit him up if you're looking for design-specific questions. But you want to have, rely on your professionals. You want to rely on your feasibility study and what their suggested unit mix is. You want to rely on your architect and your engineers. We need to know what the soils look like. Typically, we find that out before we buy. We make sure that we have favorable soils, or at least the soil conditions will fit into the budget. For example, we have a property in Texas that we have to. They're suggesting we remove 10 foot of soil and recondition it and then put it back before we put our foundations in. So that obviously plays into the budget quite a bit. And if you don't know those things ahead of time in your design phase, that could be a huge deal breaker. Or worse, you could do the deal, you could build the project, and things start crumbling 10 years down the road because you didn't properly condition the soils. So all that stuff is hugely important before you even start drawing, architectural drawings. You need to know what the soil conditions are. You need to know what the setbacks are. You need to know all the zoning. That's all the stuff we're figuring out before we close on the property. That's all the stuff we're doing due diligence. So now we closed, we get all those engineering reports, we get with our design team. This isn't like a single family house. This isn't you hire an architect and everything's great. We have an architect that is kind of sort of, the quarterback, if you will. They're running all the other professionals, right? We have civil engineers, we have geotechnical engineers, we have MEP engineers, which stands for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. We have structural engineers that deal with the foundations. Then we have structural engineers that deal with the actual steel buildings themselves. We have inspecting engineers. They come out and they're doing soil tests as we're pouring. They're doing concrete tests. They want to make sure that everything that we're spec'd out in our plans for strength, for durability, for materials, they're coming out and testing that and making sure that everything is going to meet the specifications that we designed, so that this is a long-lasting project and these things don't start crumbling, shortly after construction. So again, we're going back to our design professionals. Our design professionals are, with our help, utilizing all these different reports, utilizing the feasibility report, as I mentioned, the soils report, the local knowledge from the civil engineer. Always, 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 I've said this numerous times, hire a local civil engineer. They know the jurisdiction, they know the soils, they know the setbacks, they know the people you need to know. Having that local civil engineer and having a good one is invaluable. They're your eyes and ears. They a lot of times we select them to sign off on the bank draws because they're local, and kind of sort of oversee the GCs a little bit. Sometimes you get firms that will also do the material testing, which I like to recommend, because then they're more involved in the job. They know the job. They know the facility. They know the project from dirt, all the way through the construction. So they're in on those design meetings. They're they know, even though it's not their job, even though it doesn't have anything to do with civil engineer, they hear the architects and the MEPs talking, and they know what something's supposed to look like because they sat in on those meetings. So, having them be the final sign off for the bank over top of the GC is beneficial as well. I like to